Welcome back to Endless Journeys. This is our question of the week, where we will tackle real questions from vet tech entrepreneurs, navigating business, burnout, and building something of their own. Let's dive in.
So we did have, I wouldn't say like a review, but a comment. And I thought this was really cool because me and Jen played like no part in this actually. So Jen, there was an episode where you were reading off a review, like a good review on one of our platforms from a listener. And
Oh,
she was talking about like the image behind job hopping. And again,
oh yeah.
we were just reading off a review. And I actually took her review and clipped it and I made a TikTok out of it. And then a lady had commented on that TikTok that reading off review from another listener, she had said, I had moved clinics every 2-ish years for most part of my career and just moved to my next clinic. And I've always had the guilt with me about quote unquote job hopping. And this had made me feel better and seen. And I love that because Jen, again, me and you, we were just reading off what one tech said, and another tech had heard it and felt seen and heard from that tech.
Yeah, especially with that comment. I mean, and that was the whole point of that episode. It was one of our Chill and Spill episodes where we were just talking about how a long time ago it was the norm to stay loyal to a clinic for so many years. Then you get your pension, and then you get essentially rewarded for being so loyal and staying, at that same job for so many years. But, we were really adamant in that episode that it's not like that anymore. And that, people who used to be loyal to the same job, those jobs were also loyal to their employees. And it's just not like that anymore. And so now things have changed. And even just to build up our skills, sometimes the only choice we have as licensed professionals is we have to leave and we have to go to another clinic that's going to utilize our skills. And so that was really what that episode was about, and how it's usually frowned upon, and it's called job hopping. And that, oh, well, if this person can't keep a job for so many years, then what does that say about them? But at the same time, we were talking about, well, you just have to be smart about it. And the more that you move jobs, the better chances and the more opportunities you're giving for yourself. So I'm we're and I'm not gonna say that people who don't job hop, like, there's always that bunch, that 1% that it's like, well, maybe they can't hold a job for very long for other reasons. But I think for the most part, people know and read you very, very quickly once you're hired that, oh, okay, this person's very skilled at what they do. And yeah, they've worked all these different jobs, but look at all the different types of experience they have. They worked at a specialty clinic. They worked at a regular vet. They've worked in emergency. They've worked in ophthalmology. They've worked in radiology. Like, whoa, look at all this experience.
Yes.
That's what I would see.
Yeah. I feel like most of us would see that, but there's still those managers that have been doing it since like, 1970 that will say, you're job hopping and, it just says instability. And they still exist out there, but that generation's retiring and
Yeah.
it's time to move on over, get that out of your headset because now we're the generation that's coming up and being like, I'm not loyal to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm loyal to myself. Like
Yep.
there's no point in being loyal, especially when with and I'm not gonna go down my rabbit hole, but with corporates taking over,
Hmm.
you at any moment your clinic can get shut down, they lay you off, and you're just another person.
Yeah.
You're just another warm body on the floor. So I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be loyal to anybody. And I mean, I don't know ever again, but it's just one of those things of like, yes, you need to be loyal to yourself and put yourself first. And it doesn't matter if you job hop or what. And it just should be, I feel like it's just becoming more and more commonplace
Yeah.
just to be like, fuck it, 2 years, I'm done. Yeah, 2 years, I mean,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah, and I definitely also just want to say too is all of those jobs before us, or like our grandparents or our parents who were working those jobs and staying loyal to those jobs, they were happy there. That's the
Yeah.
difference. I mean, if you're happy at your job, then there's no reason, like, if you're being taken care of by your employer and you are genuinely happy there, then yeah, then there's no reason to leave. But I'll
Yes.
tell you what, I think the majority of the reason why people are job hopping is because they are not satisfied with the job. They're not satisfied with how they're being treated, and they're not satisfied with their pay, and they're not satisfied with how they're being utilized as a technician. And
Mhm.
that's fair. So,
Yeah.
if those are all the reasons why you're leaving, then that's justified as far as I'm concerned. We keep comparing ourselves to these older generations, but these older generations had a reason to stay, and they were genuinely happy, and they were very well taken care of by their employers. It's not like that anymore. So,
Mm-mm. No, it used to be a thing for companies to brag and be like, we took care of our employees.
right.
And I look at my dad, he walked into GM, gave a firm handshake. His daddy was also a foreman, my grandfather. So my dad came right out of high school, worked there all the way up until the day he retired. He made good money doing it. He was very loyal to them. I still to this day, I don't know how I feel about, like my dad probably rolled over in his grave if he found out I bought a Toyota or a Honda. That's why I drive a Chevy. My family was very, very, very loyal to the GM line, but he had something to work for. They gave him a pension. They gave
Mhm.
him a bonus when he retired. My dad got like a massive buyout package, and he was just a shop rat. That's what he called himself, a shop rat. He was
Right.
just a guy who put one piece of machinery to the other. Like I think he drove the little fork truck thingy. And he made enough money to support me on his own, as a single father, couple girlfriends here and there, but still single father. And we could take vacations. We had a boat, nothing fancy, not a yacht, but we had a boat. We had a brand new truck every 2 years. We had a nice house in the suburbs. I got whatever I wanted, and he had a reason to be loyal.
Mhm.
That that mindset of the companies is no longer there.
Yeah.
And it's not like that. And I wish it was. I
Yeah.
truly wish it was, but it's
Right.
not. And that's the reality is they don't have the loyalties towards their workers that they do anymore.
Yeah. So, in all honesty, like if you're listening to this and you are maybe considering yourself in the job hopper category and you do find yourself in an interview and you are being questioned about moving clinics every so often, I think that that's a perfect answer to give, in all honesty. I will be loyal to a clinic that is loyal to me and takes care of me, and I have not felt that way yet. So, hopefully, you can make me feel that way. That's what I would say. I
I love
mean,
that.
come on. So, yeah, that and that's just something that, we're always going to be, um, we're always gonna be giving out that message to people
Mhm.
and the reason why. So I'm glad that we're continuing to speak to people who do feel that way and being able to validate the their feelings.
Mhm. Exactly. And hearing other texts through this podcast, that to me just made my day. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah,
it's like the
yeah,
same, yeah.
we love it.
Yeah. So thank you guys for everything. And we're glad that two texts could help each other out and me and Jen just brought them together.
Yeah. Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
All right, and so we're going to move on to our next segment, and our next segment is question of the week. We pulled our question of the week from the unattached vet tech group, and we had an anonymous member ask a question. It was posted on November 26th. Said, "Hey y'all, those of you doing relief, where do you all get your rad badges from?" And I know that she had quite a few answers, and so for me personally, I know with one of my clinics, I am a W-2 employee. So with that clinic, they do just purchase my badge for me and I'll take x-rays there. But for when I'm doing my LLC, I ended up getting I actually had to write it down because it'd been such a long time, but I know that Kim Gardner had posted a comment on there and I actually do the same thing, but it's dosimetrybadge.com. Like literally. It's pretty simple. I went on there and you can literally just order your badge and then they send it to you, I believe, quarterly. But that's where I go through, but then when I was, like, looking at all of the comments, it looked like there was a lot of different options. I feel like you could probably just easily Google dosimetry badge online and you'd probably have so many options. And then it looked like there was people were saying that would sign up through Rue and that Rue actually it says I'm signed up for relief through Rue and get a discount on Radco. So, like, I was like, "Oh, that's kinda cool that Rue does that." I
Yeah.
didn't even know that that was an option. But, yeah, so that's what I do. And then I saw there were some people on there that were like, "I just don't do rads," which honestly, like, good for
How do you feel
them.
about that? Okay.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. I feel so personally, I don't feel right about charging what I charge and then going to a clinic and saying, "Oh, I can't do that because I don't have my radiology badge." That's what I feel about it, which is another reason why I'm gonna be honest here, another reason why I canceled my holiday shifts because I was gonna be charging them double, and with me being high risk, I can't lift the same that I was lifting before. I really can't restrain safely right now. I have to be really, really careful on, um, what type of restraint I'm doing, how heavy of a patient I'm lifting, and then I can't take radiographs because of my pregnancy. And I just don't. But I didn't feel like it was fair to be charging these clinics what I was charging them and not being able to um, be 100% as a technician.
That's fair. I respect you for that, and I think that clinic probably respected you for that too, and that's one of those integrity things. You knew that you weren't gonna be able to perform to the level that you were charging them, and
Right.
you declined. I think that's speaks highly of business ethics right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how I feel about it, and I mean, I feel like, man, when I saw that, I was like, "Damn," I mean, it would be so nice, I would like, because I'm gonna say right now, I hate taking X-rays. I absolutely hate taking X-rays. It is I hate radiology. I don't like orthopedics at all. Splinting, bandaging, um, even like surgery, like helping with CCLs. Oh my gosh, I never had an interest in it. I literally like I just don't care for it. So to be able to to use that excuse, I wish I could do it. Like working at clinics and saying, oh yeah, no, I'm just not going to take X-rays. And I remember when I first started the business, I had them asking me about that. Like, I had clinics that said, we can offer you a badge or or we can just wait to see how often we use you and then you could just not take X-rays for the first couple times. And I was just like, no, I have my own dosimetry badge. And and yeah, I feel like if I wasn't going to take X-rays, then I wouldn't charge what I charge. I would charge less because then I'm not performing 100%. I'm not doing everything because I feel like, I mean, when you're going in there and you're working relief, you're an extra body and you're going to help and do whatever you can. And I've always been very adamant about working relief and saying that, me and Kim Gardner, we talked about it on our episode. I'll go in there and I'll take the trash out. I don't care if it's not on uh, like for your so like when you get hired and it says these are the things that we expect from you as a licensed technician, right? We expect you to
Uh-huh.
be able to place IV catheters. We expect you to be able to have good client communication and client education. And we expect you to be able to intubate, all these things. So, I even if it's not on the task list, I'm gonna if we're not doing anything, I'll clean surgery instruments. I will take out the trash. I will sweep. I will mop. Like I'm here. I'm an extra body to help take off the extra load. And X-rays are a part of that.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm gonna be relief, I am. As much as I hate taking X-rays and as much
Yeah.
as I don't want to be exposed to the X-ray waves and radiology and all of those things, like it's a part of my job. And again,
Mhm.
I'm not going to charge what I charge if I can't do everything that I'm fully capable of doing. So,
Yeah.
that's my take on that.
It's a commendable take too. I like that. I know if I was a practice owner or an office manager, I hired a relief tech, and I knew I was paying them premium dollar for holiday pay. I know if they showed up and didn't disclose that, they were pregnant, they don't have their radiology badge. I know myself, I'd be like, "Oh, I wish I would have known this." So yeah, it's excellent that you just gave them the heads up and for the next little while, at least you don't have to for the next bit. That's the good news. Like, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to do radiology for a while. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. I was offered another shift to work, one of the, imagery clinics. Actually, I think it was the first week of December that they offered me. They needed somebody to work shifts. And the biggest things that they do is they restrain for ultrasounds and lifting. And I talked to the one gal that was like, "Oh, I need somebody to cover my shift." And I told her, I was like, "With my pregnancy, I can't, I have to be careful with lifting. I really can't restrain." And she's like, "Oh yeah, and that's basically all that what we do." And I was like, "I don't think I'm going to be able to take those shifts." And she's like, "That's fine." She's like, "Then tell them no." Like it's not like, and she was like, but in my head, I'm like, "But this is my business, right? This is what I'm doing." Like, and that's why it's so hard. And that's why it's just like the back and forth right now of like, oh my gosh, like I'm losing jobs because of this pregnancy. But I think that that's just a part of life and this is just a season. And, how bad do I want this? Obviously, we want this baby and I want to be safe. And and it's just like, gosh, it's that whole part of veterinary medicine, right? Where you feel guilty,
Hmm.
for putting yourself first. And like, this is literally like the health of me and like the health of my baby and the jobs that I've had to, you know, turn away. And even when I was very transparent with that clinic. I told them exactly why I was turning the job down. And I even told them, I said, there would be no other reason other than for my health and the safety of my baby that I would turn down these jobs after I've already committed to them. Like, I hope you know that. And I even said, like, I'll give you guys a doctor's note if you need one. They didn't even ask me for a doctor's note. And they were just like, absolutely. I think that they were disappointed because obviously it was going to leave them even more short staffed than they already were. But at the same time, like, she immediately said, okay, well, when you do start back up again, please let us know because we would still use you. And that to me, like, that spoke volumes at the end of the day.
And they still want you back when you're ready.
Yeah.
That speaks, yeah, like that absolutely speaks volumes. Yeah. Right till then, yeah. No x-rays. What's funny
Yeah.
is I never really liked x-rays either. I never really learned to read x-rays very well. I never interpret them super well. I saw it was a lot of work, getting those big dogs in a position, fighting
Mm.
little cats, and
It's just a
I just
lot of
yeah. It's
labor.
just it is, yeah. Okay, maybe that's the reason. Okay, now I feel validated. Thank you, Jen, because I'm
Yeah.
like I thought I was like one of the very few people that didn't like radiology. I'm like, it's just
No,
not my
especially the older we get. And then, like, oh my gosh, like, well, we have to fight them to stay still. And then you have to hold them a certain way. And then the doctor's like, well, I need you to retake it because it's blurry. And I'm like, yeah, because the dog doesn't want to stay still. Drugs would be nice.
yeah.
And then they're like, okay. And then they just give it like a quarter of a dose of Torb and expect that to do something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh. So
Mhm.
yeah, no.
No,
X-rays, no, no,
definitely not. Nope.
they're
Yep.
not
And
fun.
then yeah, they're not fun at all. So, but again, I'm sure there's techs out there who love X-ray, but be good for you guys.
Yeah.
They must be very athletic. They must love a challenge. They must love moving around
Right.
and
And
being
that's
in this
why
small, hot little room.
Right, and that's why I say kudos to the girls who were like, "I just don't do radiographs when I'm doing relief," because you know what? To them, that's a boundary, And if they wanna run their own business and they wanna do the things that they love to do, and X-ray isn't one of them, and and that's their excuse to be like, "No, I'm not doing X-rays," like, kudos to you. I mean, that's the whole point of running your business, right? And then you get to run your business how you wanna run your business, and then you get to do things that you wanna do. So that's why, that's why I'm not gonna say like that I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I just think that, me personally, if that's what I did, then I wouldn't charge as much as I charge. And that's why. Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the Vet Tech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.